Pascale, a big thank you for coming and agreeing to be on the podcast.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Nell, with you as always.
Yeah. Let's start with our intro question, which is what piece of artwork changed your life and why?
I had to really think quite hard about this question.
Great.
And there were many influences because I was a very musical child. Mm-hmm. So it could have been any number of pieces of music. But actually, when I think back, it was the film Dead Poets Society.
Great.
Do you remember that? With
yes.
Robin Williams and all these up-and-coming actors, right? I don't know if it was because it was the age I was at the time that I saw it, which was being kind of early teens or something. But I just distinctly remember the line, "A life half lived is a life not lived," or words to that effect. And it just always resonated with me deeply. And I think for the first time I'd heard that concept of, I guess, going all in, right? And just really, not being afraid to take risks. And over time, that line has iterated to my version of that line, which is JFDI, which is just freaking do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was
I
it.
love that.
Yeah.
I just think, I mean, for me too, it's a film, but I love when it's a line, it's somebody's words and you've carried that with you through your whole life and it's encouraged you to be all in and take risks.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. And who knew that Robin Williams would be my inspo on that point? But he was.
The voice in your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, what does financial literacy or sense mean to you? How did you come to be so interested in money and wealth knowledge?
Financial literacy, I think, is a phrase that's increasingly starting to alienate people.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with financial sense
Great.
instead. What it means to me is that a person understands the basic framework of money. They understand the basics of a budget, that your expenses have to be less than your income. They understand the basics around investing. They don't need to be invested themselves, but they understand the basics of it and why it's important, as in why we increasingly can't afford not to invest.
Yeah. That
they understand the compound interest. And that's one of my favorite things, compound interest. How sad. And
no, me too. I'm in that same boat. Yeah.
To the second part of your question, how did I become so interested in this? I fell into finance by accident. And I am the first to say that. So my undergrad was actually an arts degree.
Great.
Yes.
Very apt.
Go the arts.
Yes.
In my honours year at university, I was the president of the French Society and the Banque Nationale de Paris was our sponsor. And so I went along and introduced myself and, we'd give them T-shirts and whatever, invitations and da-da-da. So by the time I finished my honours degree and therefore I was now no longer president, I trotted off to BNP and said, "Hi, I'm here. I'm looking for a job. What do you say?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." And so
Great.
I fell into finance that way,
right.
in a marketing communications role. And that was really, stepping stone to stepping stone to stepping stone. But one of the subsequent stepping stones was when I moved to BT Funds Management. And this is the early 2000s. And it was really there at BT because I was actually writing the brochures about our best friend, compound interest, and also writing brochures on superannuation. But I thought, I should really practice what I preach. And so I started salary sacrifice at a very young age, abnormally young. It had literally only been introduced.
Yeah.
So I was in my mid-20s doing this and I didn't know it at the time, but it was a pivotal point in my financial journey. So the time at BT, I was interacting with fund managers and learning about the markets and, having to write all the marketing brochures to the 300,000 clients on why their portfolios had dropped 20% in the last quarter. Tough gig.
Yeah.
Tough gig, but very useful, very grounding. And it really set me on the path to understanding more about markets. I mean, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki at age 26 or something.
Yeah.
So it sparked a curiosity and a hunger, I suppose, which I've just continued following ever since.
Great. Okay. So why do you think some people are not so great with money?
I've actually done a bit of research into this.
Great.
So I did a really deep dive into this, partly because I was interested to understand, and I know from my decades of experience that women are more not great with money than men. And I was interested to see what the different reasons were. So my research showed me that there are 42 separate reasons why women are not great with money versus 18 for men.
Okay.
Now, there are some degrees of overlap. So across both genders, and I'm just referring to my notes here. So things like anxiety, procrastination, overwhelm, confidence, delegation, perfectionism, these are traits that are common to both. However, men had a few reasons that did not appear on the women's list at all. And these were things like vulnerability, admitting lack of know-how, pride, to do with masculine identity, and trauma, which leads to shame. But the correlation, or if we think about it coming the other way, there are more things on the women's list that I didn't see on the men's list. Things like education, fear, and ignorance. And those three things are very specific to women. And those three things, and they are just a sample of some of the differences, come about through a number of different ways. Cultural identity, your origin story, how you were brought up. You know, particularly as women, there's a lot of, you shouldn't need to worry about that because he'll take care of you. Or in our culture, the women look after the children and the men look after the money. You know, so there's many facets, many reasons why women particularly have education, fear, ignorance, etc. And it comes down to social roles and gender stereotypes and culture and, sometimes abusive relationships. So there's a whole reason. But as you know, I like to say whether it's 42 reasons for not being good with money or 18 reasons for not being good with money, at the end of the day, we can admire the problem all we like. But whether you're a girl or a boy, you just need to put your big girl pants on or your big boy pants on. And honestly, just get over it and just start doing it. Because the worst thing you can do is to not take action.
It's so great, obviously, that you've done research on this and those things make sense. Obviously, sometimes women traditionally are not at the table when these conversations are happening or at the golf club or the whatever. But I think, like, particularly with this podcast, it's all about creatives not having access to that information. And typically when I talk to other creative people, they are less aware of financial education and where to go and, like, you know, terms and all that sort of stuff. And I think it doesn't normally go hand in hand with creatives. And that's really a big reason why I wanted to do the Savvy Creative, to kind of bridge that gap. And it's interesting because I would bet a lot of those reasons are the same for creatives. You know, it doesn't really matter about gender either. It's just, it's not come up, or, you know, I don't feel comfortable admitting that I don't know much. So I'm just going to put my head in the sand.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about Grow My Money. An app that you founded. Amazing. It's now Finder Shopping.
It is.
So can you talk about your journey and what led you to, you know, I guess the idea and then the process of building it, and anything you can share, really?
Sure. So it starts really when I left the corporate workforce to have children, and that coincided with a return to Australia. And after our firstborns were twins, they remain twins. I thought, okay, well, what's something that I can do from home to combine, you know, working and keeping my brain engaged with motherhood? So I founded my own e-commerce startup. Ultimately, that role led me to become mentor or consultant or advisor on other startups, one of which was the Australian Gender Equality Council, which is a not-for-profit dedicated to assessing this and influencing the state of gender equality in Australia. I was the director of communications there, and I helped bring AGEC, as we call it, to market. And I was liaising with government and corporates and the everyday person. And it was really fascinating for me to see just how parlous the state of gender equality or inequality in Australia was at that time, how much we were going backwards, and also specifically from a financial aspect, because, I'm ex-finance, how women were, at that point, they were retiring with 42% less super than men. And here I was going, well, actually, my super's in a really good state because of all the work I did with my salary sacrifice, but what about the rest of the female population? And it was reinforced by the fact that working with the council, we'd make so much progress with government, and then there'd be government shutdown because we were now going to an election.
Right.
And then we'd start all over again. And it was just bananas. And I also discovered that the government had been aware of the imbalances and the structural deficits facing women in their super for about 18 years at this point, and had done sweet FA.
Wow.
And I thought, this is just unbelievable. And at the same time, my twins at this age, boy-girl twins, were, I think they're about 8, 9, and, pretty sharp. And I just looked at this perfect sociological experiment that I had, and I looked at my son and thought, buddy, when you retire, you're going to retire with $100,000.
Sure.
But, darling, you're going to retire with $58,000. And for what reason other than your chromosomes are 2X and your XY?
Ooh.
So I thought, well, this is bonkers. What do we do about it? Because education that's a long game.
Yeah.
Government, a long game, and they're not doing anything about it. And I thought, okay, women are like literally bogged down doing the groceries and the shopping and the laundry and the, et cetera, et cetera. How can I create an income stream into their super from that activity? And that was the genesis of what was called Super Awards.
Yeah, yeah.
And then over time we launched, so it's cash back into superannuation.
Yeah.
So every time you log on and you go shopping at Woolies or Pet Barn or
Cotton
Big
On,
W
whatever.
or Cotton On or the Iconic or Apple, wherever, because you're going through the platform in order to purchase, the retailer, such as Apple, pays a portion of your spend into your superannuation.
Brilliant.
So let's say I spend $1,000 at Big W, which frankly I can do at the drop of a hat with 3 kids, but Big W will pay $20 into my Grow My Money account, and then Grow My Money pays that into my super. So Grow My Money pays into any super fund or SMSF in the country.
And so you had the idea.
Yes.
And then how did you go about building it, and how quickly was that process?
Took a year-ish to get funding.
Okay.
And then from being given funding to go live was 9 months.
Wow.
It was so fast.
Wow.
It was so fast.
Great.
Yes. No, it was. And then over time we iterated, did partnerships with super funds, et cetera, et cetera. And then by now we had, there was COVID, which was fantastic for helping everyone learn how to shop online.
Yes.
That was great. And then we came out of COVID, and then interest rates started rising, and then I was reading the tea leaves, so to speak, and I thought, okay, cost of living is now actually a more pressing issue than superannuation. So we launched another product, which is cash back into your mortgage.
Yep.
But because we launched that, we can no longer be called Super Awards. So we rebranded to Grow My Money.
Great.
And we now have a third strand in there, which is cash back into savings. 18 months ago, we were acquired by Finder, which is why it's now being rebranded to Finder Shopping.
So good. Okay. So I have this theory that kind of coming back to creatives, I have this theory that you cannot create when you're stressed about paying your bills, because obviously you're just worried about paying the bills. I know for me that was certainly the case.
Yes.
So I'm curious, what traits do you notice about people who have their finances quote unquote sorted?
Sorted, yes. And before I answer that, I would like our listeners to understand that people who look like they have their finances sorted don't always have their finances sorted. The people driving the big flashy Lambo and wearing the bespoke 3-piece suit or whatever.
And the pearls and the whatever.
Yeah, they are not necessarily the people who have their finances sorted.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the people walking around in the scruffy T-shirt with a couple of holes.
The Toyota Camry.
The Toyota Camry. It's one of these things. I think it's so interesting that you cannot pick, who's got their finances sorted. The people who have their finances sorted, what do they look like? Look, they're investing their time as well as their money. They're people who seek out knowledge, they educate themselves, they research. They don't have to be classically, I guess, financially educated. They don't have to have a degree in commerce or whatever it might be. But they're the people who, there's a real trait, I think, is that that curiosity for hunger and learning, for sure. They're people who are comfortable with a level of risk when it comes to investing. They're people who understand that if you just tuck your money under the mattress, that is not a good long-term strategy, because inflation is going to erode away at the value of that money.
Yeah.
And they understand that you need to be investing in property and shares in order to generate a sufficient return, above inflation. That's right.
Yeah.
They're disciplined with their money.
So I like that one.
It's not just about if they're disciplined with their budget, but in the systems they've set up around their finances.
Set and forget.
Set and forget, exactly. Like automation, periodic reviews, how they organize their transactions and files even. I think that's a really big one.
Yeah.
Another one is that, and this might sound really obvious, but they're comfortable with it. They don't avoid it.
Yeah.
In fact, the opposite. They really make sure that they understand a financial scenario kind of inside and out. It's not head in the sand time. For them, it's the opposite. They want to know the ins and outs, get behind it, turn it around, upside down, and so on. I think that another trait is that they spend smarter.
Ooh, that's good.
So this can be anything from, they're really thinking twice about whether they need to purchase that thing.
Yes.
Or where they can get it for a better price, or can they earn cash back on it?
Do you know, this is such a good one. I have a rule with myself because I was, I used to be really bad with money. Something has to sit in my cart for 24 hours before I buy.
Yes.
Because you could find a better deal, or sometimes you get actually offered
the coupon code.
Yeah. Or like you get an email that says, hey, you've abandoned your cart.
I know.
Here's a 10% off or whatever.
Know. I do the same. And I also find if I can let it go another 24 hours,
I don't need
maybe I'm like, it looked good 2 days ago, but now I'm just not sure. And the other trick I have, which I'm happy to share with you and your listeners, is that I look at the dollar value. And let's say something's, I don't know, $300.
Yeah.
And it's sitting in my cart. And after a couple of days, I'm like, do I really still love it as much as I thought I did? And also I ask myself, would I feel happier with that $300 on my shoulder in the form of a handbag or in my investment account? That's a good one for me.
Another good one is how much of an hour is this worth for me? Or like I sort of convert it into how many hours work it would be for this particular item.
Yes, I love that.
And then I'm like, is it worth a week's work or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I love that. That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
My last trait for people who have their finances sorted is that they have a long-term view.
Good.
They really do. Like they understand that this month's share market movements, okay, whilst, not ideal, are actually in the long term, it's not going to matter. It's going to be a blip. They understand the power of compound interest. They really can get comfortable with long-term horizons.
Yeah.
Because that's really what the financial journey is about.
Yeah. Let's bring it back to our core listener,
Yes.
the creative or freelancer.
Yes.
So if I'm starting out as an individual or I'm selling a service,
Yes.
could you give me 3 things to think about when working out how to set up my finances?
Set a budget.
Yep.
No, that's number one.
Yep.
Because if you're a creative setting up a business, you need to understand your cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we bring it back to that personal finance example like I gave earlier, your outgoings have to be less than your incomings.
Say that again.
Your outgoings, so your expenses,
Yep.
have to be less than your incomings, i.e. your income.
Such a important thing to think about. And
Yes.
like not many people do that.
No, I know. And it's so tempting, ever more tempting, I think,
Yeah.
with buy now, pay later, etc.
Yes. Yep.
in today's day and age. But, and I say this as someone who's been in the startup world for over a decade, I am now so focused because of that experience on where every dollar goes.
Yeah.
And you learn, okay, yes, it's worth, and I think we'll come to this later, it's worth investing in that. It's worth spending money on that item, but not on this.
Yeah.
Because startup world, I imagine, is very similar to creative world where you've got to make all the dollars last.
Yes.
And if you're finding yourself in some kind of budget deficit and it's, you're heading into budget crunch, then you have to do something drastic. Okay, so what does that look like? You can either reduce expenses further or you can find another way to generate income. But your expenses always have to be less than your income.
Beautiful. Number 2.
Pay yourself first.
Good.
This means paying yourself super. This means within the business framework. If we're speaking personally, it means, investing. It means setting aside money for a buffer, for an emergency fund. Everything else comes after that. Because if you're, and to come back to your earlier point, if you're stressed about money, that's all you can think about. And it's going to, I totally agree, it's going to reduce your creative output. Yeah. Which in turn is going to affect all aspects
Everything
of
else.
life.
Yeah.
But also it's going to affect your ability to bring in income because you're going to seem a bit desperate. It's going to affect the quality of the work that you do produce. So it really is about paying yourself first.
Yeah.
The third tip I'd have is automate everything.
Great.
Automate everything. And whether that's, setting up direct debits, because often you can get discounts for paying things by direct debit.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get discounts for paying things a year in advance. Be careful with that one. It can seem tempting, but if you're at an uncertain business time, you have to say, oh, well, what if I'm not here in a year? And or what if I'm not here in 8 months' time? Then that's a lot of money that I've seen go out the door. But fundamentally, by automating everything, it means you get out of your own way. Yeah. Because we're human. We're erratic. Yeah. We make irrational decisions. Yeah. And sometimes the erratic, imperfect nature of us gets in the way of what should be taking place. Yeah. So just set up direct debits for as much as you can. Yeah. And also becoming really critical. I'm sure in this industry, as it is in startup world, people are, pitching you their services and their whatever all the time. And you think, oh gosh, if I just go with this person, anything is possible. And that might be true, but at what cost? So if you can barter for goods and services as much as you can, do deals, structure payments, all of those sorts of things, but try and guard your cash as as fiercely as you can. Yeah. That would be my tip.
I think as well, like we've talked about, having a bit of a buffer as well. Yes. So like when you start, making sure that you're not starting from nothing.
Absolutely, because there will be a dip before you start
panic,
and so if you've got a buffer to start with, then the dip doesn't matter so much. Yeah, you're ready. But if you're starting at zero and then dipping, that's when the stress becomes really overwhelming. So build a 6-month buffer. Diversify your income stream.
Good.
So that might look like, I don't know, having a couple of jobs whilst, you're getting your side hustle going.
Great.
But it also might look like within your side hustle, which let's presume that's the creative one for now, that you are earning commissions and you're earning publishing fees and you're earning royalties. So that's diversification within your industry, and use rolling budgets wherever possible. So try and push payments out as without kicking the entire can down the road, but try and stagger payments as much as you can for a smoother and less of a cash crunch.
Yeah. And following on from that, what strategies would you suggest for people with lumpy money or unpredictable income?
I'm thinking of someone who once said, if you've got 'em, smoke 'em. And they were referring to cigars.
Yes.
But I now look at that person and they have nothing because of that attitude.
Yes.
So if you've got them, like if there is a lump sum payment, guard it.
Yeah.
Don't fritter it.
Yeah.
Pay yourself, pay your super, invest, get rid of a couple of big bills, whatever. But keep the rest of it as your 6-month buffer, because you don't know when the next job is going to come in.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, so guard that money fiercely. Cash is king in this scenario, and look for other ways to earn income.
Yeah, that's good. I think as well, a good way to deal with like lumpy money is working out what are like the hard costs and kind of setting yourself that month to month line of what needs to come in, and then everything else, as you said, guard it.
Yep.
Put it out of sight, out of mind.
Don't touch it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I want to get people thinking about startup costs for a business.
Yes.
What should people be happy to pay for, in your opinion?
Yes.
And can you give any tips for being more strategic other than obviously best price or shopping around?
Yeah.
What else would you suggest?
Okay, so to your audience, just please know that my background is in marketing and finance, so I am entirely sympathetic, to the creative world.
Yeah.
But after a hard-won experience, I would say just focus on anything that is going to materially impact the financial outcomes of the business.
Yeah.
Tax and accounting advice, yes. Logo creation, no.
Interesting.
Yeah. Listen, I've been in that seat. I remember with my first startup, I was obsessed about the logo. And I look back now at what I spent on that logo and I think, oh, dear God. And the other thing is that AI, whether you love it or you hate it, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
I look at all the AI tools available now compared to just 7 years ago, which is when I started my last startup.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think,
although
I haven't dared to do the numbers, on how much we could have saved.
Yeah.
But honestly, you can use AI tools for, I don't know, if you've got a placeholder website, you can have the whole site built, like design, copy, build. You can use it for EDMs, so email and social content strategy and planning, market research and analysis, business development strategy, identification of targets for capital raising. Like there is just so much. But so lean into AI. The more you use it, the more you get out of it, I found in my experience. So that means that the more, cheap subscriptions you can have or free subscriptions, because in startup and creative world, we love free, right?
Yeah, we do.
And so reserve your powder, or reserve the big money or the impactful money for anything that is going to change the financial outcomes of your business.
Yeah, i.e. money through the door.
Money through the door.
Yeah.
That's right. So it might be someone is able to advise on restructuring your company and say, look, if we split out that creative bit into this vehicle over here and do that there, then you're going to be able to save $20,000 a year. Well,
do that one.
Because that sounds great.
Yeah.
Or if you have, I don't know, let's say you come across a business consultant and yes, they've worked in your industry prior and they've got case studies and so on. So I'm not saying don't do your due diligence.
Yeah.
But if they say, do you know, I can see that you're producing A, B, and C. If we tweaked this, then you could also be producing D&E and therefore your income would, double.
Yep.
Again, that's impacting your financial outcomes.
Yep.
So do that.
And what about, this is a big one for creatives, working for free?
Oh, yeah.
Should we be doing it for exposure, relationships? What would be your advice here?
While it might be unpaid, make sure that you're actually getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Now, that might be, you can barter some of your skills. It might be, I've found these 5 people in your network, Nell, that I would really love an introduction to. So make sure you get those introductions.
Yeah.
It might be tickets to event XYZ.
Yeah.
So make sure there's something in it for you.
Good. Yeah.
Even if there is no dollar value attached to it, make sure there's something in it for you. Or it might be that they give you a testimonial or recommendation that you can use in your business development reel for the next project, right? But the other thing I would say is set yourself some sort of cap or limit on how many free gigs you do.
Yes.
Is it 5?
Yeah.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
Because that way you'll know that the end is in sight at some point.
Yes.
If you ask me to just run, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But if you ask me to run 2Ks, I can.
Yeah.
Because I know the distance that I need to travel.
Yeah.
Setting yourself an internal limit, and hey, look, that that might be a bit longer, a bit shorter, just see how you go. But just knowing that you're not going to be doing it forever for free is a really big thing.
Yeah. That is really good. I think as well, getting things in writing, like what you said about like, obviously, I'm happy to do this for you, but can you do this for me? And let's just put it in an email or whatever.
Yes.
And then the other thing I would say or suggest is research. So, if someone says, hey, can you give me free music for this? Have they done it before? What do other people say about them?
Yes.
Can you just find out a bit more information as to the credibility or the caliber? Because obviously your time is worth something and you don't know that in the beginning.
No.
Or you don't kind of, I guess.
You don't put it up front. Yeah, you don't prioritize it for sure.
Okay, 2 more questions. Can you talk us through any trends in the market right now from the startup finance perspective? What are you seeing firsthand?
Well, AI.
Yeah, okay.
Enough
said.
Here endeth the lesson. No, honestly.
Yeah.
I read a piece last week. OpenAI has just raised another round of capital and they were valued at something insane, like $680 billion. Wow. But they're not actually making any profit.
Huh.
I know.
Interesting.
I know. So that is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. But same with Netflix for a while. There was no profit.
No, and it was the same with Uber.
Yeah.
And yet Uber's still here, and same with Canva. And anyway, so there obviously can be a long burn on these things. So anything AI related just seems to attract a massive valuation. And that's that. When I read your question, I actually thought it was like an investment markets question.
Oh.
And so I was going to talk about what I'm seeing in the actual investment markets.
Yeah.
Because it's a very interesting time in investment markets because of the conflict in the Middle East.
Yes.
I've been dabbling in my investment portfolios to tweak them and adjust them and and so on. And obviously any fuel stocks are doing really well.
Yeah.
Anything in defense is doing well. Gold is doing really well.
Yeah.
And of course, gold had a great year last year, up 26%.
Yeah.
So anything that is like a defensive type asset, mind you, my Asia tech stocks have gone through the floor, but the rest of the portfolio is because of the oil and renewables, renewable energy, because what this is showing us is that, wow, do we really need to get a move on with renewables?
Yes.
So yes, it's been swings and roundabouts.
Okay. How do you decide if something is worth investing your time into work-wise for you?
It's a function of time.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I realize how precious time is.
Yeah.
So I look at it through that lens. I think, okay, if I'm going to spend, 5 hours a week or whatever it is on this, am I going to be fulfilled by that time that I spend on it? And that's my litmus test.
Really quickly.
Yes.
What advice would you have for someone who categorizes themselves as not great with money? Like, where do they start? Yeah. What's like your top 2 tips?
Well, being in this industry, we love things that are free.
Yeah, we do.
So I would say, and ASIC is not paying me to say this, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
ASIC stands for Australian Securities and Investments Commission.
Yeah.
They have some excellent, and I mean excellent tools.
Great.
For free.
Cool.
On their website.
We'll link that in the show notes.
Yes, please. And honestly, I use the ASIC compound interest calculator or the superannuation calculator literally every other day.
Great.
And I saw this morning that they had actually just released some new tools and around retirement and so on.
Great.
So whether you're starting out in personal finance or have a little bit of knowledge but want more, or maybe you're reasonably advanced, whatever it is, there are so many tools on the ASIC website that A, can answer your questions, and B, you can actually play with them. That's really what I like. It's like, okay, well, what happens? What does my super look like if I add just another $50 a month? And what does that look like over 30 years? So just being able to play with the tools and model out, what your future could be, really obviously speaks to the imaginative side of my brain, but also I find so helpful.
Yeah, tangible.
That's right. ASIC, money smart, and no, I'm not being paid.
Great. Love that. Thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your knowledge. I know you're so passionate about everything you talk about, and obviously it's my favorite topic as well. Yes. So big thank you to Pascale.
It's been an absolute pleasure.